In this video, today we're breaking down the real reasons behind the biggest business failures the world has ever seen. These are not stories about small companies taking wild risks. These are not stories about beginners who didn't know what they were doing. These were giants, global brands, household names, companies that dominated markets for decades. Companies people trusted with their money, their time, and their loyalty. Brands people believed would never disappear, and yet they failed. Not because of bad luck, not because money suddenly vanished overnight, not because one terrible decision destroyed everything in a single moment. They failed because they stopped adapting. Most people imagine business failure as something loud and dramatic, a sudden crash, a massive scandal, a shocking headline that appears overnight. But real failure almost never looks like that. Real failure is slow. It's quiet. It's invisible at first. It happens while profits still look healthy, while offices are still open, while leadership still believes everything is under control. Failure usually begins years before anyone notices it, and by the time it becomes obvious, it's already too late. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Big companies almost never collapse because of one bad decision. They collapse because of years of small decisions that were delayed, ignored, justified, or defended. Small compromises, small excuses, small moments where change felt unnecessary. Those moments add up. For decades, Kodak didn't just dominate photography. Kodak was photography. They controlled the cameras, they controlled the film, they controlled the processing labs. Their brand was so powerful that people didn't say, "Take a picture." They said, "This is a Kodak moment." Here's the irony. Kodak invented the first digital camera. The future of photography was created inside Kodak itself. But instead of leading that future, they feared it. They worried digital photography would destroy their film business. They worried about losing profit. They worried about disrupting their own success. So they delayed. They hesitated. They protected what already existed. While Kodak hesitated, the world moved forward. Consumers wanted instant photos. No film, no waiting, no development labs. By the time Kodak finally reacted, customers had already moved on. Kodak didn't fail because of technology. Kodak failed because of fear. Fear of change is one of the most expensive mistakes in business. Now think about Blockbuster. At its peak, Blockbuster felt unstoppable. Thousands of stores across the world, millions of loyal customers, huge and consistent cash flow. For many families, Friday night meant one thing: a trip to Blockbuster. Walking through aisles, picking movies, late-night snacks. Then a small company appeared: Netflix. At first, Netflix mailed DVDs. No late fees, no driving, no pressure. Blockbuster laughed. Their stores were busy, their shelves were full, their brand was powerful. But Netflix wasn't competing on size, they were competing on convenience. Then streaming arrived. Netflix adapted immediately. Blockbuster didn't. Blockbuster tried to protect store revenue. Netflix focused on improving customer experience. Blockbuster even had the opportunity to buy Netflix. They said no. That decision became legendary. But the real problem wasn't that single decision. It was the mindset behind it. Big companies often believe they're too big to fail. History proves they're wrong. Now consider Nokia. For years, Nokia dominated the mobile phone market. Their phones were everywhere, strong, reliable, trusted. Then smartphones changed everything. Apple focused on software, design, user experience, ecosystems. Nokia focused on hardware, tradition, what it worked in the past. Internal politics slowed innovation. Decision-making became complicated. Risk-taking became dangerous inside the company. In fast-moving industries, speed matters. Nokia moved carefully. Their competitors moved boldly. The market didn't wait. Yahoo tells a different but equally painful story. Yahoo had search, email, news, massive daily traffic. They had the chance to buy Google. They passed. They had the chance to buy Facebook. They passed again. Yahoo didn't lack opportunity. They lacked focus. They tried to be everything, so they became nothing special. In business, clarity beats variety. Then there's Toys R Us, a brand that defined childhood for generations. But as shopping moved online, they stayed offline. Heavy debt limited their choices. Large stores increased costs. Margins became thinner every year. They didn't build digital strength early enough, and debt removed their ability to adapt. Debt doesn't just cost money, it costs flexibility. And flexibility is survival. Now step back and notice the pattern. These companies didn't fail because they were stupid. They failed because success made them comfortable. Comfort leads to complacency. Complacency leads to denial. And denial is fatal in business. Another major factor behind these failures is ignoring customers. Markets don't care about history. They don't care about legacy. They don't care how big you once were. They care about value, convenience, price, experience. The moment you stop delivering value, someone else steps in. Leadership also matters. Strong leaders accept short-term pain to avoid long-term collapse. Weak leaders protect quarterly profits while the foundation slowly cracks underneath. Company culture plays a role too. When employees are afraid to speak honestly, problems grow quietly. Healthy companies invite criticism. Unhealthy companies suppress it. Silence kills businesses. Another hidden danger is ego. When companies succeed, they start believing their own story. They stop listening. They stop questioning. They stop learning. That's when decline begins. Because the world doesn't care how successful you were yesterday. It only cares about the value you provide today. Here's the most important lesson of all. Failure doesn't announce itself. It doesn't send a warning. It doesn't knock on the door. It looks like business as usual until suddenly it isn't. The biggest business failures in history are not stories about bad luck. They are stories about ignoring reality. And reality always wins. If you enjoy learning how businesses truly succeed and fail, subscribe to this channel for more clear, real-world explanations. New videos are coming, and staying informed is the strongest competitive advantage you can have.